Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the latest edition of the Woke Pros. Of course, I'm your co-host, Big Waz, aka Wazny Braid. I'm joined, as always, by my brother, my partner on the west side of Los Angeles, Nando Vila, man, reporting live, man. What's going on?
I'm doing good. I got a mic ready set up this time.
Love you.
For the people. Yeah, no more AirPod.
Well, they got to hear
podcasting.
your voice, man. They got to hear the timbre of your voice out there. We're doing, what is that shit called? ASMR
Yeah,
up in here these days, man. So they're going to love that. Last
we
week,
we were
go
just
ahead.
talking about the kids, the youth these days, and
Yeah,
how they're not fucking, and they're just like
that's what they're
watching,
entertained by.
10 hours of YouTube of someone like putting their face in an orange or some shit,
Bruh, or eating a bag of potato chips really close to a mic in a completely silent room. These kids are fucking weird.
I know.
And so, you know what's so funny? I was on TYT on Chank's show, Old School, a few weeks ago. And he asked us a really cool question. I thought he was like, what is your most conservative, what you would deem like a right-wing trait? And I told him this shit about kids and young people and that we give a fuck about what they have to say or think. I don't.
Oh, yeah.
I don't give a shit.
Idiot.
He was like, what's the threshold? I'm like, bruh, get to 26, 27, fam. And then I'll start like actually caring about what you have to say about life and what your principles and your morals and all of that shit. Before that, Nick, like, bro, you've never done anything. You've never been through anything. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like all of this shit, like, bro, there's certain things that younger people do bring to the workplace where it's just like, yeah, you know, like a woman shouldn't have her tits grabbed at the job. Like, yeah, I'm glad younger people ushered that into the workplace of just like, guys, like, I know this shit was cool in like 94, but like boomer person that I work with, like, no, you shouldn't tell me how nice a freaking skirt hugs my ass. Like, not at work. Like, we just shouldn't do that. Like, there's certain things that they've introduced, but like all the bitching and moaning and entitlement, like, yo, I got hired yesterday and why am I not VP yet? And it's just like, bruh, like they just fucking suck. And just, again, it's not that we should be knocking out the idealism of young people, and they should be, you know, you should be idealistic and you should be very strident in your views and all of that. But me as a nigga who's 36, I don't give a fuck. I just don't. Like a 22-year-old or a 21-year-old, and yes, they're the future. When they become the future, great, good for them. For now, I'm not going to incorporate their mindset into my fucking life. It's just not going to happen. And I will engage them in conversation because it's nice to know how people think and why they think the things that they do. But the amount of just country that we give to young people, get the fuck out of here. I'm sorry, young people. I'm sorry. I'm just sorry. Like, you know, that's just a tangent. That is definitely my one right-wing view, is that young people are stupid and we shouldn't listen to them.
I mean, I guess mine would be, I've like turned really hard against a kind of techno progressivism of, you know, that not just the internet,
New is better.
social media. Yeah, that new is better. And it fits certainly with technology. Like I'm starting to think not just the internet, but but like all technology, like it's just making life a little bit worse. Like that there was probably like a bell shaped thing where like like, you know, electricity undoubtedly made people's lives better, right? Like, but
yes, yeah.
But like, you know, we're starting to get to the point where
the car made people's lives better. Yes.
Well, now it's making it worse.
Right.
And a train, an older technology than a car, is actually better.
It's better.
You know, like a subway and a train is better than a car. But that techno progress is not something that I think should be celebrated that much anymore. But the other thing is that I have this kind of very old school mentality around political arguments, in that I don't think that there should be any new ideas. Like I just don't think. I think most of the debates that we could ever have about politics, especially as we live under capitalism, were already kind of had by much smarter Russians in Moscow, in St. Petersburg in 1912, you know, like in some coffee shop in Paris or Berlin, you know, like those debates have been had and hashed out and fought over bitterly. And the you know, the stuff that came out of that is probably is more salient than it ever has been. And that when young people are like, you know, you always meet this certain kind of young striver who is like 22 and got straight A's and was like the star of their college and the star of their whatever. And they're always like, you know, civically minded. They want to make the world a better place, but they have this idea of like, what we need to do is have like fresh new take solutions on the problems of today, and old it's like, bro,
it's the same problems.
Yeah,
it's the same problems. The people at the top are hoarding all our shit.
Yeah,
they're turning us against each other.
Yeah,
they're making us fight their wars.
Yeah.
Like it's the same shit.
Same shit. It's the same shit, dude.
It's the same shit. They're fucking using us as cannon fodder, bro.
Yeah.
Like it's the same story in time immemorial. And not to get all like Marxist, dialectical materialists in here. But the bottom line is, when you actually read the text, like, this motherfucker was fucking prescient as hell. Like, it's just a fact. Just go actually read what he's saying about the systems that are creating and shaping the world. He's just like, yo, bro, this shit is going to turn people into alienated people. Like, the idea that a person should make their life about creating widgets so some other person can have 4 yachts. Like this is just not going to breed a group of people who are happy, who feel fulfilled. They're like, this is not what we should be striving for. And like, literally step by step, like, this is why this is going to create this. Like, this shit is not even that complicated. But I'm supposed to care about whether some trans kid gets to play Little League baseball. Like, I mean, look, man, I want the kids to be happy, but bro, we got bigger problems. Like, we just do. I want the kids to have a good time at school and recreationally. Like, I really, really, really do. And in the cases where that happens, I would hope like that the adults could be sensible about handling it. I really, really do. But like, the bottom line is that shit doesn't affect like 99 out of 100 people. And to make the entire discourse, to put all of our energies, and some people would say, oh, that's a false narrative, we can do everything. I don't actually believe that. I don't think we can do everything. That's never been proven to be the case. Like, I don't think that, you know what I mean? It's just, I just, and I do think, and again, like, there's a lot of people our age who are very invested in those kinds of things. But I do think it's like, literally, like, they want to be hip to young people. Straight up. They want to feel like they're cool. Yeah. Like, I'm not some crusty old person. It's like, yo, I'm pretty crusty and old, man. Like, motherfuckers, and we're going to get into the Dems, and we're going to get into Biden. And we talked about the Republicans, the mess that is over there. But like, and this is not the first time that I've said this on the show. These people who are so stridently, Democratic Party pom-pom waving ass motherfuckers. I'm like, bro, in 2023, again, I'm not saying the Republicans are better. I'm saying you should not wave the pom-poms for the Dems just because they're not Republicans. Okay? Yeah. Show me the proof of concept, man. Like, show me a situation where Democrats are running that thing and it is just humming. It's just singing, boy. Like, it is just, wow. That is the model for society, for what people should point at and say, this is what we need to be doing more of, right? And that's not to say a place like Los Angeles is like some dystopia. I think that's where the right wing loses me, where they try to describe somewhere like Los Angeles or New York as some like hellscape.
Yeah.
Of
I was just in Miami.
Blade Runner.
I was just in Miami for Labor Day weekend, where I'm from. And people like will come up to me, not come up to me on the street or anything, but I talk to some people who are like, well, I mean, like what's happening in California? And I'm like, what's happening in California? Like, what are you talking about? Like, it's, they're like, well, and like, they'll say things like to me, like what the new thing, and I'm sure this came from some Fox News thing or something, was these squatters' rights. And I'm like, I'm sure that that's happened, where like, someone squatted in someone's apartment and they won a settlement or whatever. But like, I haven't heard of anyone in my life where that's happened to them,
Well, also, what I would say to those people is like people who own second homes to make money off of rents. I feel unsympathetic to that. I just do. I'm sorry. Like those are the victims in that crime. I'm not somebody who is like, wow, that corporation that owns 20 properties, there are people squatting in some of their buildings. I don't give a fuck. I really don't. I don't care about that. I think what's happening with legitimate homelessness is fucked up. I think people, and there are two schools of thought to this. Like I was explaining to a friend, I was like, yo, if you go to, people talk about drug usage and mental health. I'm like, go to West Virginia right now. They're doing all the fucking opioids, all the drugs. Motherfuckers are strung out. There's virtually no homelessness. You know why? Because it's affordable to get a house.
Yeah, it's cheaper.
To live somewhere. You can afford to live somewhere. I'm like, in Los Angeles, in New York, in San Francisco, it's impossible to afford rent, and we're inventing more homeless people.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's not shocking that there are more homeless people in richer cities. That makes total sense. Like that poor cities have fewer homeless people. I mean, you would think it's the opposite, right?
And it's not. People talk about the drug uses. Oh, people are coming to California to be homeless. I'm like, bro, they've done the studies. The people who are homeless here are from here, bro.
Yeah.
They're not from Wisconsin. They didn't come from Wisconsin to become homeless.
Like get on the Greyhound bus with like a stick and a little knapsack to
Of course, there are cases where that happens, but they've done the studies. Most of the people who are homeless are from the area where they are homeless at.
Yeah. And
like 90% of the people are.
I mean, and that's, I think that's a good segue to this tweet that I saw this week.
Could you bring that up for us, Jerv?
So it was by a guy named Zach Beauchamp, who I haven't heard of in a while, but he used to be at Vox, I think, and he used to be at Think Progress. He's like your classic liberal, millennial journalist opinion guy, been around forever. Just a total kind of liberal cheerleader, Democratic Party cheerleader, blah, blah, blah. And he wrote this tweet where he quote tweeted some poll numbers that came out in which Brandon's head-to-head against the Republican field looks pretty bad, because Brandon's poll numbers are overall, and his approval rating is really, really low. So, for example, like head-to-head against Trump, it's Trump 47, Brandon 46. Head-to-head against DeSantis 47, Brandon 47. Head-to-head against Nikki Haley 49, Brandon 43. And all the way down the line with all these jokers from the Republican Party, Brandon is either tied or slightly behind.
He's underwater. Yeah.
He's struggling, And Zach Beauchamp's takeaway, he goes, the greatest puzzle of 2024 so far, why Biden's approval ratings and head-to-head poll numbers are so bad in the midst of a booming economy. And it's like, man, like, and he's not the only liberal, so I don't want to pick on him. He's not the only liberal person to say, like, what are you talking about? The economy's doing great. Look at all these numbers. And like, by some conventional measures, like say GDP growth and maybe unemployment, the United States is doing quite well in those numbers. But then you look at things like rent prices, like housing costs, the percentage of your income that goes to your housing, the percentage of your income that now is hoovered up by healthcare or food prices, like inflate. I mean, Woz, have you been out to fucking dinner or lunch in LA at not like a nice place, like any random ass fucking place,
bro?
It is insane.
So I know people are tired of me talking about my trip to Europe, but I want to hear
more about it.
I finally filed my expenses for Stockholm like 2 days ago. And I'm literally, so like when you put it into like the Concur shit, you got to put it in, like I spent 300 Swedish, whatever their currency is called. And then they do the conversion, and like I think it's like 9.5%. So some cost $200 in Sweden. It's like a little under 18. It's like $18 or so, in American dollars. And I was doing my because I'm literally looking at the receipts, because I'm filing these expenses and I'm looking at these itemized receipts. And I'm just like, yo, living in Stockholm is so much fucking cheaper than crazy. Los Angeles. It's insane.
Like going out to a nice dinner with friends, alcohol, dessert,
it's
2
impossible.
Courses a person.
If it's 2 people, it's going to cost $275.
Yeah,
straight
absolutely.
up. $275. That fucking dinner, bro.
One of my colleagues from my job who spent he spent a month in San Sebastian in the north of Spain earlier this summer in June with his wife and kids. That he like worked from out there for a while, did his vacation, but also worked. So he spent a month there, and he was like, I'm paying double rent, right? Like I'm paying rent in my house in LA, and I'm also paying for like the Airbnb that I stayed in for a month. And he's like, I did the numbers, and I actually saved money, even though I'm double paying rent. Like the day-to-day expenses are so expensive.
And that's an Airbnb. That's not even a rent for lease. Like if he was staying there for a year, his housing would have been
so much cheaper.
That much cheaper.
Yeah.
It's insane. So when the economy is booming for who?
Yeah. It's booming by like some measures that are just incomplete, right? Like they're useful to look at in some, like it's useful to look at the unemployment rate. It's useful to look at GDP growth. You can look at that, but you have to look at other figures also. Like, and I think housing costs is a big one, especially in the, Brandon's base, liberal, wealthy cities. That's where the fucking rent is crazy. And not even just, I'm not talking about just New York, LA, and San Francisco, which everyone hears about, but Miami, Florida. One of the most rent.
Boston, Massachusetts,
fucking even
DC,
even the metro areas of red states, which again are Democratic these days. Democratic, right? Like Wichita, Kansas, like probably
Louisville, Kentucky is a Democratic stronghold.
Yeah, those places also are like cities are suffering from high rent because no one in the fucking Democratic Party or in any party in America ever thinks about housing costs as a political issue. Like it's just a thing that just is like the natural state of being. When again, one of those crusty old left arguments from forever. This is fucking goes back to fucking Engels, okay? Like Marx and Engels, right? Like,
we're talking about 1840, guys.
Yeah.
like 200 years ago, guys.
He wrote a whole paper on housing under capitalism, that if the state doesn't literally just kind of rein it in and intervene, like the natural order of things is for the housing costs to just go up, and because it's something that you cannot live without. So anything in capitalism that you can't live without, well, just
the state should regulate.
Exactly, because if not, the people who own the shit will just fucking extract it from you because like, what are you gonna do?
It's no different than pharmaceuticals. And shouts to Brandon for like finally doing something about reining in some of those costs. Like that's an actual win. Has he been going around fucking Florida?
No, he can't do it.
Michigan and all of these places and be like, yo, I did this shit for you. He's not doing it. By the way, shouts to Nate Silver, who he was part of the big chop at ESPN, which is unfortunate. But I think as a public, we've gained because he started a Substack. And what I like about his new Substack, I think you should check it out, Nando. He's somebody who has felt deeply wounded by the libs, particularly on the internet, and he's very annoyed by them and their like just feelings first analysis of everything and just being like objective, and it like objectivity makes you like semi right wing, and like he's just felt very wounded by them. So I like the work that he's doing at his Substack. It's actually pretty fucking dope. Yeah, nice. It's really good stuff. But yeah, he put something out and he's like, of course, Biden's age is a legitimate voter concern, bro. 3/4 of U.S. adults say Joe Biden is too old to run for a second term. This motherfucker would be 82 in January of 2025 to be sworn in. He would be 86 by the time he left. That is insane.
Yeah.
Okay, and people aren't dumb. They just watch Mr. McConnell obviously survive.
Dying
just
on live
survived a
TV.
Stroke.
Yeah,
he clearly had a stroke, a severe stroke, and he's just like, "Fuck it, I'm still going to work." And he's on live TV, literally, like Nando said, dying. Yeah. People, this isn't even like complicated. These guys are old.
Mitch McConnell. I mean, the stroke thing really got to me because this man is old as fuck. He's rich as fuck. Yeah. Like Mitch McConnell did that whole thing with his wife and got all the money. You know what I mean? Like he's rich as fucking fuck.
And he is, if you are a real dyed-in-the-wool Republican establishment standard bearer, Mitch McConnell did work for you guys.
Oh, he's a
fucking
he's a soldier.
Hero, bro. Yeah. He's a war hero, bro. I'm talking about Purple Hearts for that cohort. He's put it in for them, bro. He has done everything. Like, this guy is a Hall of Fame Republican. He's a first ballot. Number one with a bullet Republican.
He's going to be forgotten like 5 years after he dies. Like, no one's going to remember him.
Bro, I won't. This guy did the work, bro. When you talk about deregulating this shit to hell, packing the courts, you know, tax cuts out the wazoo, all the things that they really truly care about, bro, he did the work. Like, bro, the job is finished. It's like Jordan with 6 rings. Like, look at the Supreme Court, bro.
Yeah.
Look at all of the win. Like, this guy has won. He's done nothing but win for these guys, and he's still up there.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. This guy is like literally rotting away on live TV. He's rich as fuck. He's old as fuck. And he still gets up to work every morning. He's like, let me just fucking screw the people just a little bit more. Just like, I need to get a little bit more in there. Let me just fucking make everyone's life a little bit more miserable.
Yeah.
You know, like it's a true psycho shit. But yeah, I mean, the back to Biden, like, I think the point about his age is not like, you know, it's not just to be like annoying about it, but like the fact that he can't be out there energetically and forcefully talking about this Medicare reform, which again, I think is a pretty meaningful reform.
It's meaningful, bro. It just is. And it's meaningful for a cohort of people who vote like a motherfucker.
Yeah, the old people. Dude, I don't know if any of my friends know that he did this. Like, any of my friends.
There's
like,
no chance.
This is like, there's been no
fanfare. You've got to be a fucking political dork like us to like even know this happened, bro. Like, this guy. So much as I hate Barry, and yes, I hate that motherfucker. Like, as the days go on, I gotta send you this article that this dude did, where he talked to a guy that wrote a book basically debunking all of Barry's myths, like the myths that he created in his like quote unquote autobiographies and memoirs. Like, he basically fact checked Barry, and he wrote a book about the fact checking, and like he's like, bro, there's a legitimate interesting story here, but Barry made his own myth, and like the people just bought it whole cloth. And he just does a fascinating interview, and he's just like, this guy is kind of like an empty, vapid, just vain motherfucker, and he really just stands for nothing. But whatever. Much as I hate Barry, that's just a side bar. Believe me, if Barry would have passed these Medicare price cuts, for pharmaceutical drugs. Oh my Lord. You would have never heard the end of it, bro. He'd be still talking about it right now. 7 years later, he'd be bringing it up. Are you shitting me? Barry knew how to fucking sell his accomplishments, bro. He just did. And that's why he always stayed popular relatively. His shit never dipped below like 55%, bro. He stayed popular. He stayed popular even when he was failing, even when he was just so obviously.
People liked him. People liked him. People liked Obama. People liked the fact that he projected strength and leadership. You know, like there was something interesting that happened during COVID was in that a lot of most of the governors, Republican or Democrat, during COVID, especially during like the initial kind of scary lockdown, what the fuck's going to happen phase, when they were out there like all day talking on TV, like obviously the Andrew Cuomo thing was really famous, but
they became more popular.
But all of the governors came more popular because they're out there fucking being leaders, even if they're not doing anything.
Sucks.
The worst
Cuomo
guy
sucks dick, bro. And he was so fucking popular during COVID, bro. He was everybody's liberal zaddy. Oh, Cuomo was zaddy.
Yeah, he was zaddy. But people like their leaders, their political leaders, even if they don't necessarily know why or what program they did or whatever, they like them to be out there and project strength and leadership and confidence. And, you know, Brandon, you know, he just doesn't, because first of all, they don't let him out there. They never let him out there, even though they should. I think they should. I care.
I think he would do fine, bro. I really do.
Yeah.
And the mistakes, people don't care about that so much, man. Like, just come out and explain why. Like, bro, this nigga Barry would have had a fucking 10-point PowerPoint. Happy birthday, Bernie.
Oh, you gotta watch this. Bro, you gotta watch this. Look at this snack. Look at this gold glove.
Yeah. Brandon's not doing that.
No, Brandon's not doing that. Bernie, who is old as fuck too, it's his birthday today. And Jane Sanders, his wife, tweeted out a video of Bernie playing softball in his backyard with his grandson, and Bernie's pitching and his grandson is hitting, and Bernie throws a fastball like right down the middle. His grandson hits a line drive right back at him, and Bernie is like fucking Greg Maddux out there with the gold glove, just snagging that line drive, and his grandson is so pissed he slams his bat on the plate. It's a great video.
And I know we're a bit of a Bernie occultist here. I get that, but it's just true. Like, the guy actually still has some vigor. Trump does. Like, and that's the other thing, Nando. It's like, remember when Trump, it was like all the show, he's seen now, he's going this, he's going that. Liberals were saying all the time. You can't look at Joe Biden and tell me this guy's not worse than Trump in that department.
Yeah.
And they went and made a big stink about Trump's age and this and that. And then we elected Brandon, and Trump was out there every day. Another guy who was just out there every single day, you know, stumping for his bullshit. And the supporters just loved it. It's like, what is Biden giving people? And like, and then of course, it's not as if people like, well, we should just throw Kamala in there. I mean, talk about inept. I mean, talk about a token hire. I mean, Jesus Christ. Like, nobody thinks that's, like, there's nobody, even your most lib friends, Nando, at no point would you have a conversation at a party be like, you know, I think Kamala would be sick in there. She would, like, really kill it if she got the opportunity. Nobody thinks that.
Yeah.
You'd be a fucking lunatic to think that.
Yeah.
And so, you know, and we're a ways out. Obviously, we're a year out until voting actually begins. And so much can happen between now and then. But it's like, oh, God, the Dems, man. Talk about just resting on your laurels. And
they could easily lose to Trump again. Like, this is like,
there's no doubt in my mind that they, like, what?
Like, easily. Like, they're playing it so close.
Anything more than a coin flip, you're crazy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's in the best of cases. It's a coin flip.
Right.
Which, again, you know, Trump barely lost in 2020. You know, like, I don't think people realize how
it wasn't a blowout.
No, it was not. And and he
wasn't
lost.
Obama and Romney.
And he lost, even though he had lost his mojo. Like, I think Trump in that campaign had completely lost his mojo. He was obsessed with the Mueller shit, the Russia shit, which nobody gave a fuck about. Nobody, not even his supporters. Like, and now he's like forgotten about that, which is good. He's still he's going a little too hard on the election stuff, which I think no one actually really cares about either. But he's kind of regaining his mojo a little bit, the 2016 magic. And man, that's like a scary prospect because I mean, I don't know. I also kind of underrate Brandon when the chips are down and he's back against the wall because he's a survivor, and he ended up pulling it out in the end in 2020, and maybe he does it again. Like remember like when he came out in those debates and we were like, oh my god, this is going to be bad. And then he came out swinging and he was pretty good. I
think he still got something in the tank. They just got to let him out there, man. Like they really do. And that's why he's got.
I think people would like him. He's likable.
He's super likable. Super likable. He's super likable. He just feels like your next door neighbor, older gentleman who you like. He's not this buttoned up, like I think about some of these cats, man. And I'm just like, the people that y'all try to trot out there like Gavin fucking Newsom, another just a disaster. Like
such an
oh my god, he's so clearly a creep. He's so clearly the guy that hits on your girlfriend when you go to the bathroom.
Yeah,
like he's so clearly that guy. And the Brandon people have sort of spanked him a little bit. Like, yo, bro, fall back, shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
nobody wants you. But like just some of the people that they try to champion, it's just like, Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. It's just to give you an update on the Dems. We don't need to be doom and gloom. It's still super early, in the context of all of this stuff. But yeah, it's right now. You don't have a sunny outlook about how things are going to turn out in November for these cats. It's just hard to have a very sunny outlook. All things considered. Anyway, that's our show for today. I want to give a big shout out to my man, John Gervais, for producing the show, keeping things running on the ones and twos. Of course, my man, Nando Vila in the West Side. We will see you guys next week. Peace.